Hi there, it's me, Jordan Van Haslo. Welcome to Jordan Van Haslo and Friends live on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. Let's get on with the show. You're listening to Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. I'm Jordan Van Haslo, and on today's Showtime with Jordan Van Haslo and Friends, we have a special guest, Seydou Kanté, also known as Bllst Love. He's here to share his story and talk about his new release, Thing Called Love. We're going to have a nice, candid conversation about self-love and resilience. So I don't want to give too much more of a big introduction because we're going to get really, really well acquainted. And we only have an hour. So yes. welcome, Seydou.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, Jordan. Thank you so much for your time and your grace. Yeah, let's get into it, man. I'm excited to talk about this new song. There's actually a couple, Baby I Know and A Thing Called Love. I've got some really great people in my corner that have allowed me to create some really cool music and be myself. That's the most important thing, and it's a special situation to be in. So I'm glad that you guys have it and like it enough to want to talk to me. So here we are. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually listening to them earlier today. Really, really great stuff. And I think after our interview, we're gonna play them as well. So the folks here in Las Vegas get a chance to kind of get introduced to the Bllst Love experience.
Yes, awesome. I hope they do.
Was music something that you've always done, or is music something that you came to like later in life, or how did your musical experience begin?
So music for me started when I was 14 years old. So I was part of like a misfit group of kids. Originally, I was an immigrant from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I didn't grow up with any family here. I grew up with just my father and my mother, who's my stepmother, but she's my mother. She raised me. She's the only mother figure I knew. And I didn't have any aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, grandparents, nobody. So this misfit group of guys from my junior high school became my boys, because every single day we would go to my boy Seth's house or my boy Sean's house or Tim's house. We would dance. We would create dance steps. We would talk about how we were going to change the world. We would create music, write music, and then we would watch the news and music videos, study that stuff. And so I got really into music and creating when I hung out with those guys at a young age, because they accepted me for just being this misfit kid and being talented and curious. And they were all talented and curious, so we were just like, fuck it, we're friends. And so we started hanging out and we started creating shit, and nobody judged each other. And I was like, this shit is dope. I like it. And I fucking stuck with it. And it's just the bug of creating and being accepted and not judging others. It really just stuck with me. So eventually the group broke up because, some kids moved away.
About how old were you at this time, you say?
I was 14.
Okay.
I just graduated the 8th grade, and I moved to a city in Sacramento where I didn't know anybody. And I just gravitated towards these young men who all were kind of misfits like myself. But somehow we had a creative thing. That was our connection. All of us were good at something. Seth was good at airbrushing the clothes and doing the dance steps. I was good at dancing, and I was good at writing music. Sean was the pretty boy. He was like the lead singer of Color Me Bad. He looked like that, right? He really did back in the day. He really, really did. So we were like, you're the lead singer of Color Me Bad. That's when Color Me Bad was really blowing up, when I was 14 years old. So it really worked for him because he was the pretty boy of the crew. I was the black kid. Seth was the really artistic kid with the glasses, and Tim was just a real bad boy. So we kind of had the whole little mix.
You were like an original. You're a boy band. You're a true boy band.
we were. And so like we really every day, like literally, I dropped my book back off, go to Seth's house until dinner time or the sun went out. We were there doing our thing. It really just hit me hard of like, this is what I want to do. When we were in that group, we were so serious about making it. My boys danced in the Belleville DeVille video once. I got to get this out because shout out to my boys that got me started in this, because they gave me the bug. He danced in the Belleville DeVille video, but Sean went to LA from Sacramento with these girls, and these girls were connected in the industry somehow. So he got around with them. He got to know where Bobby Brown's hotel was. He called up to us and said, hey, you guys got to come down here, because I know where Bobby Brown's hotel room is, and we got to give him our demo. And we're like, nigga, we don't drive. we're only 15 years old. How are we supposed to get down there? So we call our 18-year-old friend up, Mike, who had a car. We're like, bro, you got to get us to LA. You got to get us to LA. So we jump in his load that night, fly down to LA. We hang out at Seth's dad's house because Seth's dad lived in LA and his real dad lived in LA. We bunked at his house. We took a cab over to Sunset Boulevard where all the hotels were and everything. Found out where Bobby Brown's room is. We're like, oh my God, we're going to be famous. Shit, we're going to be famous. We go to Bobby Brown's room. He never opens the door. And this was when Mike Tyson was having a fight. I acted like I was Michael Bivins, called Bobby's room and was like, yo, you got to meet these kids. They're hot. They're good. He's like, okay. He hangs up the phone, but he never meets us. But still, we thought we were going to be famous because that's how deep we were. Like whenever there's a concert that came to town, we found out where the hotel was, where the tour buses were going to be, and we would try to go give them our demo. We tried everything we could to just, in our own power, without a record label, without anybody. We press our own things, we'd make our own clothes,
Yeah.
we designed our own dance sets, we did our own thing. We were like,
Because
okay,
this is pre-YouTube, pre all
oh,
of
this is pre everything.
these tools that you have now to
Uh,
make a noise for yourself before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
totally. I understand.
the music biz, we knew like, okay, we got a music business book. We're like a manager can make this much, 15%, and blah, blah, blah. We're like, we're going to own everything. And then, it didn't happen, but just the bug of really making it and being creative and being not judged and not judging others stayed with me. And as life happened, as growing up happens, kids happen, life happens, you grow up and things move around, it stayed with me. And I tried certain times in my life, but life situations got in the way. It didn't quite work out. It's just always been something with me. I come from a creative mother who always told me, whatever you want to do, like I became a doctor. It took me 10 years. Whatever you want to do, if it takes you 10, 15, 20 years, go ahead and do it, son. Just the journey is what this is all about. And that's what it was for me is I've always been about the journey, living in the moment. It's always been there, but life always derailed me somehow. A few years ago, 2017, I had a pulmonary embolism.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I almost died. I was in the hospital for 45 days straight, my brother. It was a crazy experience for me. I really thought I was going to pass away. And I just was like, God, this is it. This is it. But he gave me another opportunity at life. And when he did, I woke up. Like the internal part of me woke up because I noticed I fell asleep like a lot of people do because of things that happened to them, because of situations that have to be financial, whether it be family, whether it be, relationship, however the case or whatever happens to you, we fall asleep because of issues around us. We fall asleep on who we are. We fall asleep on our gifts. We fall asleep on the things that we're talented in. And we forget about it because we're in the rat race of work. We get work in the way of really cultivating who we are. And we don't self-love. We self-medicate. And then we forget who we are and we forget our purpose and we forget what we really be doing because of all these things around us. So after that accident in 2017, I woke up. I was like, holy shit. When I got out of the hospital, I had what's called an infarcted lower left lobe. Half my left lung does not work because it was starved of oxygen while I was in the hospital. I lost almost 30 pounds of muscle mass because I was never a fat kid, so it was muscle mass. So I came out a broken human being. I didn't know what I was going to do with the rest of my life. Physically, I couldn't even do a push-up. I couldn't walk up a flight of steps without falling asleep all day. So I didn't know what I was going to do for work. The place I was living, I lost that because I was in the hospital for so long. Everybody thought I abandoned my spot. I was renting a room. So I was living out of my car for 3 months. Hot summer, 2017, no AC in this white Volvo. Trying to find places to sleep and trying to find places to rest my head. And I couldn't, for the life of me, understand what was going on, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there in that mental state, in that physical state. Because the doctor told me while I was in the hospital, he said, the reason why you didn't die when you got here is because you were really physically fit. And when he told me that, I was like, okay, my journey now is about getting fit again. Because if this ever happens or anything ever happens, I want to make sure that I'm able to fight it off. Because if that's what saved my life while I was in the hospital, then damn it, I'm going to make sure when I'm able to, I'm going to get my body back in the best physical shape possible. So if anything ever does happen again, I can fight it. Here I am today, years later, 215 pounds, in the best shape of my life, even in better shape than I was before my accident in 2017. It's because of the man above. I didn't stay where I was at. I chose not to just say, okay, you know what, life, you got me. I'm going to live this mediocre life. I'm going to get a mediocre job. I'm not going to apply myself too much because I don't want to hurt my body. I went on Craigslist when no friends would take me in to even crash on their couch for just a day or two so I can get my bearings together, sleeping in my car. I would go on
What was
Craigslist.
that about? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what was that about? I mean, you had just had this crisis. I mean, you
Yeah,
weren't just like some bum who's
no,
like
no.
not.
And
I
so
mean, you had a crisis.
So the crazy thing is I called friends that I did so much for in the past, because I called a friend who had kidney issues and had a kidney replacement. I would spend the night at the hospital with him, nights, days, and go to his house and check on him while his wife is at home. So I'm thinking, if anybody's gonna let me in for like a day or two or for something, he would. He said no, and I'm thinking, damn, okay, you really on your own out here, because I didn't have any, buddy down here other than my family was up north. My dad and I weren't so close, so I'm a very independent motherfucker. I was like, fuck this, I just gotta grind. So I slept in my car, got on Craigslist when I shouldn't have. I should have been resting. I got on Craigslist to do labor jobs so I could just make enough money to eat, just make enough money to do whatever I had to do until I scraped enough money to get another room for rent. And that shouldn't have happened, but because I was not willing to just lay down and accept what was handed to me, I grinded through it because I knew it was in me to do it. And so I dug deep and said, "Fuck this! I'm going for it." I mean, it's that Richard get die trying mentality where I was like, "Listen, if I'm gonna die trying to get better, then fine, I'm gonna die. But I'm not gonna stay in this car for years. I'm not gonna stay here in this position for a long time because I'm too lazy to try." So I always knew I had more in me to give. And so I had to go find that guy who was healthy before the accident and make sure that he got healthier, and so that we can keep on pushing, because I knew I had more in me to give. And so I had to go find that guy, say, hey, have that conversation with that internal dude and be like, hey, bro, we got to wake up. We got some shit to do. We got life to live. We got people to touch. We got things to do. There's too much in you to go to waste, to sit here and just be, woe is me. My life is fucked up. Complain all the time. I was like, no, that ain't me. I can't do that. So I found music through self-love. Again, I found my desire to go, okay, I truly do have something. Let's make something of it. Because the music thing for me isn't about being a star. It's about touching people. It's about saying, hey, I'm talented enough to open up doors for myself, not be a star. If God says you're gonna tour the world, awesome. If God says you're gonna do a lot of big shows, cool. If you're gonna collab with people, whatever. Fine. Whatever God says the music does, that's what the music does. I'm not here to be a star. If being a star happens, it's an after effect, cool. But this is about, dude, you're talented enough. Let's open up more doors of commerce. Let's show the world that you've got enough gifts to do this on your own. I don't have a writing team. I don't have anybody that does anything for me or for other than the producer who produced the music. I wrote, arranged, did everything by myself. And so I said, okay, self, you need to prove yourself to this planet so this planet can give you back something too, because it's not about getting anything. It's just I needed to prove to myself that I was still worth a damn. So I went after what I knew inside me that was really good. And I said, okay, we got to figure this out. And so I did, and here we are. And so I'm just letting God take control of the music and steer it wherever it goes, because I'm blessed to be in the situation, blessed to be alive. And through self love, I found and awoke in myself and said, listen, bro, you got to wake up. And through this music, we got to help other people wake up too, because there's too many of us asleep because of life circumstance that happened to them. And I don't want to stand by and let that continue to happen. And so if my story can help other people, again, it's not about being a star. It's about saying, hey, wake up, people. There's an opportunity out here for you. No matter what you got going on, wake the fuck up, because you got a gift inside you and you just need to find it. You need to take away the bad energy that's around you. You need to stop dating that stupid, fucked up ass person that you're dating. You need to stop hanging around those dumbass people that you're hanging out with. You know what I'm saying? You need to stop thinking the way that you're thinking. Time is ticking. Only you know yourself better than anybody else. And I just had to be really real with myself and forgive myself for things I did, things that happened to me, and stop blaming everybody else for anything that happened to me. I was like, nigga, I'm taking everything on the chin. I'm putting everything on my back. Fuck it. Yeah, I fucked some shit up. Yeah, I did some really terrible shit in the past, and I did some really good shit too. I was never a taker, but when I got out of the hospital, I made sure I became a giver without expecting anything in return. I made sure I said, be a giver, Si. Be more of a giver. And I just constantly reiterated that to myself, and it brought me to this place. And here we are.
And here we are. So there's That's so there's so much to unpack there. So like let's
I know there was,
like
Mom.
there's just
I had to get it all out, though. I had
there's
to get it all out. I know you're like, this motherfucker should shut the
so
fuck
I
up.
want to because
I got
well
another
because it's
question.
easier to say to do like like you said I came out of this and I'm like you know what I've been wasting time so I'm just gonna get on with living and that's an easier it's like saying snap out of it you just like move on so I just want to kind of unpack this so like so this you have this horrible medical emergency
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
assume were you in a coma through most of this
No,
time or were you
so I wasn't in a coma. I was awake through it all. I wish I was in a coma because being awake through it was terrifying. So I was asleep one night and I was just laying in bed and I couldn't breathe all of a sudden. I started having these really sharp, fiery pains in my chest as if each time I take a breath, there was a bunch of knives on all parts of my chest. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I drove myself to the hospital, which was crazy because I just have a high tolerance for pain. At this point, it wasn't too crazy, but it was crazy where I thought, I need to go to the hospital. So by the time I got to the hospital, I was on the floor. I couldn't breathe. I parked my car, and this is the crazy. I parked my car in a 2-hour parking spot right in front of the hospital, thinking, okay, they're going to treat me. I'm going to go home. I'm in the hospital for the whole month.
sorry I'm only laughing because it's like and then on top of it all your car
No,
gets
but no, 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 no. This is the thing. God got me. The car was there with no tickets. A month later, sitting on a busy street in a 2-hour parking spot, I even asked the people in the hospital like 3 weeks in. I was like, "Yo, can you check on my car, please?" And they were so cool because I was cool with them. And somebody checked on my car, and they're like, "Your car's still there?" And I was like, "What?" Yeah, my car was still there. I never received a ticket, dog. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. But I'm
That's
sorry.
crazy.
Continue with
So I
your
go to the
story.
hospital and I'm coughing up blood at this point. And now I'm thinking, okay, shit's really bad. I don't know what's going on with me. I can't take a full breath to save my life. It's like that feeling when you want to yawn and you can't, you want to yawn to get more oxygen to relieve yourself. And I wanted to do that so much. And I was just super exhausted and in the
Like kind of
ER.
like inhaling through a straw or something, like where it's
Oh
like
man, it was like I couldn't get enough air.
Mhm.
I was, I was drowning. I felt because I had blood in my lungs. Each time I'd lay down, you could hear the blood, you could hear the liquid, and I was just like, damn, I'm gonna die in this place. I really had a thought of like, this is it. The people in the
What's
ER
that
saw.
thought process like? Like feeling that? Because I mean, I've never experienced that and been in a hospital and knowing like what like what's going through your head in that moment.
What's going through my head is not being able to see family, not being able to see kids, not being able to be there for my loved ones. All that was just going through my head of just like shit. I'm gonna die in this place, and my loved ones aren't gonna have me anymore. I'm not gonna have them. We're not gonna be around each other to see each other grow anymore. And that was the thing that hit me the most of like shit. That those good times are gonna end way too soon. And that was the biggest thing that hit me while I was in there. Um, yeah, but yeah. So I'm in the ER, and they take me up to the room, and right away I felt a lot better once the doctors and the nurses got to me. But I would wake up in the middle of the night with 104 fever, 135, 140 heartbeat at a dead sleep. So I felt like I was just in hell. And they would come in and fill me up with ice packs underneath on top of me and cool me down. And it was just a repetition like that every single night for quite some time. And I just, at that point, made peace with God, said, okay, this is it. This is where I'm going to die. And I really, truly thought I was not going to make it out of that hospital. But when I did make it out of that hospital, I changed my way of thinking so much that now I'm just a totally different person because I learned meditation. Because like right now we're talking, and you're not
Mhm.
thinking about breathing, but you're breathing, but you're thinking about what we're talking about. So now flip that and go, every single second you're thinking about every breath first. Like you're breathing, you're making sure every breath matches. Because remember, I came out of the hospital with 1.5 lungs, not two. So now my breaths aren't the same. I want to breathe like I did before, but I can't because I'll start to hyperventilate. I'll start to skip a breath. It's fucked up. So I'm counting every single breath from sunup when I wake up to when I go to bed. And even when I close my eyes until I really fall asleep, I'm counting my breaths. So it's just exhausting. And I did that for a couple years. So I really learned how to meditate like a gangster. Let me tell you, I can pop into my meditation so quickly now. and get into a meditative state. And I actually really love it because, when I want to zone out, when I'm working out now, I really want to concentrate on something. I just sit down, I do my breathing exercise, I lock in, I focus, and I'm gone. I'm a totally different planet. And again, through that is when I truly started to pay attention to my self-worth, because I had to. I had to pay attention to everything I put in my mouth, every thought that I had, every move that I made, because I wanted to get better. And I knew if I was around shitty people, bad energy, if I ate bad food, did stupid shit to myself, it was going to leave me in that situation longer. And so basically, through that accident is where I found the deepest self-love for myself, because I had to love myself out of that situation. I had nobody else to do it but me.
Yeah. So what's the first step to that? What was the first thing? I mean, aside from like, okay, this is my changing like my outlook. Like what was the
Yeah.
first actionable thing that you did where you're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do today. That's gonna be the first step to this new path that I'm on.
I mean, like every single day, every day I woke up, I basically thank God first. Every single day, I'm grateful for just waking up. Because the words that we speak, first of all, like the biggest component to getting better was the words I would speak about myself and the words I would speak to people, because words are very powerful. I changed my language. Me changing my language would change my thoughts. And I knew that. That's the biggest component I would say to start it off, was I had to change the way I thought about myself. And so changing the way I thought about myself was changing the way I talked about myself. So I had to change that. So once I changed that verbiage over time, because it's like working out. All of a sudden, you go to the gym, you don't get all of a sudden muscles, you don't get tone, you don't get abs, you don't get overnight. It's a process. That process mentally, for me to believe those things, it took some time. And it took time for me to repeat these words to myself, repeat these thoughts to myself, and then start to see a transformation over time, because I had to, over time, keep saying these things. I deserve this. I'm a king. I'm worth it. I'm worth putting the time. I had to start saying these things to myself on a regular basis so that my motor skills would start to kick in and start to do things that correlate to those words I would say to myself. And so I would get better that way. That's the biggest component, first and foremost, that I started. And then actually forgiving myself, because I had to forgive a whole lot mentally for me to even start the journey of healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you come back to music?
After I got better and I'd healed, I would just start to, like, sing. I wasn't recording yet, but I would just sing around people. I was just singing, being a happy person, because man, I was just happy to be alive. And I would go out to hang out with friends, and music would be on, and I would start singing, and people would go, "Man, you sound good." And I started hearing that enough times to where I went, maybe you should start doing something with this again. But it took me time to believe those words that I said to myself. I wasn't right away like, "Oh shit, I'm going to the studio, I'm dope." No, it was like, yeah, okay, maybe they're just being nice. Maybe they're just,
Mhm.
because people just say a lot of shit. And it's like, man, all right.
That's definitely
Are
true.
y'all just fucking with me or what? I don't need no bullshit smoke in my life right now. After a bunch of times, I would say, or quite enough times, where I was like, okay, maybe I should do something with this. I met a guy named, well, let's just call him Producer. This is weird because God told me to just stop at this bar. I was driving by, and I started listening to this voice all the time. They would tell me, get up, go this direction, go here, and sit here. I'd have these conversations with people because I was finding pieces along the way to get here. And I would just listen to this voice go, okay, go here. So I stopped my car, walked to the front door, started this conversation with this man, and we started talking. He told me he was a producer. I was like, cool. I kept going back and having these conversations at the door. I wouldn't go into the bar and hang out. I was just going to talk to him. Finally, he was like, yo, come over. I got some recording equipment. I was like, all right, cool. Went over, magic happened. Like, oh, okay, here we are. This is what I'm supposed to be doing again. We recorded some music. We were planning on putting it out. He moved to New York, called me some time later, a few months later, and said, hey, I met an old friend of mine from school or when they were kids. He came in a bunch of money. He started a record label. We want to sign you and put out that song we created in LA and do some other music. I was like, let's go. Only reason why I want to sign this deal is because it's you. Otherwise, I'd rather stay independent, because we all know what happens in this world. If, majors get to you and you don't have your head on right, it could be a bad situation. So, I mean, there's enough outlets now where you can be independent, make enough money. And if you're wise with your money, invest it right, you don't really necessarily need them. You just need distribution. He signs me, fly to New York. This was pandemic, 2020 when this happens. Okay, so my accident's 2017. By 2020, I'm moving around, I'm grooving, I'm feeling happy again. I feel like a human again. I'm singing, I'm feeling good because I'm walking around with the good vibes singing. I get noticed. He says, let's record. He moves to New York, flies me to New York. We record a music video. We record some more music. I come home, we release that. A few months go by. Song's doing well, but I got to interact with his business partner who was an asshole. And I was like, you know what?
But he
I'm
had the
cool.
money. That's the
He
way
had
it
the
goes,
money.
right?
He had the
He,
money.
what I'm
So
saying, that's the way it is, right?
yeah,
But he's the one.
had the
He has
money,
the money.
right? But the thing is, I'm on the phone with these guys about a business dealings that they have. And I'm the artist, and they're talking about their business. I'm on the phone. I'm going like, why am I on the phone? And the guy's like, shut up. I'm your boss. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, yo, I didn't sign a record deal for you guys to talk to me like I'm trash. You know, I signed this deal to be an artist, to make money, to go on an adventure. That's cool. But now I'm on the phone with you and you're telling me to shut the fuck up. I'm your boss, and calling me all these other words. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm not about all
This
this.
isn't it. Yeah.
Right. And so it happened a couple times to where, like, okay, it's happened one too many times where I'm going, you know what, guys, I want out of the deal. This is 6 months into the deal, and it's a 2-year deal. And they said, well, you got to pay us $10,000 if you want. I was like, fuck you. I haven't made any money, so I want out of the deal. So I sat for the next year and a half on my deal. You know, I had people in the business wanting to record with me, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. As my middle finger to them, I was like, I'm going to sit. Whatever the deal is going to be is fine. So the deal ended April last year. I started venturing out and finding the right energy again to write music and to record music, because I don't just go with anybody that says they have a studio. Because so many people, I got a studio, come record. I got a studio. I'm like, fuck it, no. The energy's not right. I'm not there. With my job, I'll be fine if I don't make music. This music is a passion. This music is a purpose. It's not, again, to be a star and to think that I'm on this high and mighty thing. It's a vehicle. It's a purpose vehicle is what it is. And so I'm only doing this with the right energy people. And that's it. You know, I'm not doing this to, I can get a quick Lamborghini or a quick house or a quick anything. I've had things thrown at me. Not to say I'm all that. I'm just saying I have something that's worth it. So I'd rather hold on to it and make sure it's done right. It's got to be with the right people. So finally I found Classic. Shout out to Classic, Jay Classic, my guy. Mike, thank you for introducing me to Classic. First day I met him, because in the song, the beginning of it, I talk about Classic. About the first day I met him, I knew we were going to make some music. About a year later, I come back to his studio, magic happens. We knew we do a thing called Love. We do Baby I Know. We've got a bunch of other tracks that are coming behind them. I'm just super excited, because if you guys like a thing called Love and Baby I Know, then you guys are in for a treat, because there's more coming, and I'm excited for you guys to hear it.
Is the plan to release just single, or are you working your way up to an EP or a
So
full?
I'm gonna release, singles right now while I'm working on a major project. I want to put some music out to get some feelers of what I'm doing, how I'm being received, and then to kind of see what the direction I should really go, because I want to put a few different singles out that sound different, because all my music doesn't sound all the same, and I want to get feelers out from the public, because this is a conversation between me and everybody else. It's not just about me. Once I kind of feel where the direction is, then something bigger will come from. But right now, you guys are going to get single after single, and then again, I'm letting God decide what to do with this. I'm not a Christian-based singer or anything like that. I keep saying God. It's just I'm letting the man above steer the ship. At the end of the day, I've gotten to this point by letting him have control and releasing control. So whatever happens with the music, if it's singles for a while and then an EP and then an album, or if an album comes out after the singles, I really don't have that plan. I'm just gonna let the music keep doing its thing.
Yeah. So what
You know,
type of music do you listen to, and like who inspires you as a musician?
man, I listen to everything. I see, that's the thing about me. I was that kid that I grew up listening to Cyndi Lauper, to Lionel Richie, to uh, man, God, Metallica, um, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. I listen to everybody, bro. Like, if it sounded good, I listened to it. And so again, I never was just that hip hop kid, just the R&B kid, just
Right.
the pop. It was music, because I came from an eclectic family. I came from a family, like, my dad was African, my mother raised me Jewish, so they listened to all types of Simon Garfunkel, like everything. So I'm inspired by anybody that's on that stage that says, I got them balls in order, to get up here and do it. For me, just watching somebody up there be themselves, it's inspiring enough. So I listen to everything, man. Like, I don't really limit myself from a genre of music because they don't look like me or anything like that.
Right. No, that makes sense. Do you have like that go-to, like that person or like that who like just, you've always been like, oh my God, you know what? I'm in the mood to just jam to this.
Recently, who I've been listening to is
Uh,
this dude named JP Cooper.
okay.
Oh,
I'm not
hey, recently I've been on JP Cooper, boy. Let me tell you, this the kid is fly. I mean, I would have to say for right now sake, because there have been in certain times of my life. I think that comes in like seasons when it. So what you're asking me, I get you now. Like there's been seasons where I'd listen to certain people in different seasons, and right now, who's in for me is JP Cooper and like Teddy Swims, guys like that right now who've got that natural sort of raspy tone that aren't using auto tune, that aren't using a bunch of equipment to make them sound beautiful. That's the kind of music I'm sitting to right now. So if you listen to some JP Cooper, man, let me tell you, the kid is amazing right now. The
okay.
kid's
We'll,
amazing.
we'll have
Yeah.
to check them out.
Check
So
him out.
I,
Check him
I want to touch on something you mentioned a little while ago. You talked about
out.
having an eclectic background, your father
Yeah.
being African, being raised Jewish. So
Yeah.
tell me about your background. You were born, and then what happened? How did you get to Sacramento?
Well, was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Mhm.
Came to Culver City. Jewish mom went to UC Davis, not UC Davis. She went to UCLA.
How
She's
old were you when you got to Los Angeles?
3 years old.
Okay, okay, so it's a baby.
Oh yeah, I was a young man. I was what they call a latchkey kid too, because both my parents at the time couldn't afford childcare, and they taught me at a very young age how to walk to school, the path to take to school and home, how to prepare my food, clean the kitchen, put everything back together at a very young age. So I didn't really have time to be a child or anything like that because they couldn't afford it. And so, and where we lived in LA was kind of rough at the time, but now it's all
I would say Culver
gentrified.
City now is like
Oh, gentrified and shit. But like back in the day, the section we were in was shoot 'em up, bang bang. But now it's all gentrified and pretty and Mercedes Benz and BMWs. But so yeah, we lived down there when she graduated medical school at UC Davis. After she went to UCLA, because it was more cost efficient for her to go to school at UC Davis when she got in, and my dad and I
Mhm.
decided in LA in the neighborhood we were in because it was more cost efficient. Then we came to Sacramento when she graduated medical school, and that's when I was in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Is when we moved up here to
Well,
Sacramento.
what was that like? Was that for you as because that's a weird age. Like sixth grade, you're like what, 12,
That's,
11,
yeah,
something around
11,
that time.
11ish, like
To
10,
to
11.
to leave your friends and also to go from Los Angeles to Sacramento. Like what was
Yeah.
that? Were you like, no, and like trying to hold on to like the to
uh,
LAX, like that I want to go? Or like were you excited about like a new
uh,
adventure?
I was, I was, I was excited to come be with my mother at the time.
Mhm.
It sucked to leave all my friends in LA because at the time you're a kid. You're like, I'm leaving all my friends. I don't know anybody up here. I eventually made some friends in Sacramento. So yeah, you have that typical kid like I'm leaving all my friends. I don't know anybody bullshit. But I quickly got over it. Yeah, but I was really more excited to go see my mom because she's everything for me. She's absolute best friend. She's yeah. Yeah. That woman, that amazing woman. I am the reason why I'm who I am today because of her.
Yeah.
I'm as strong as I am today. I am as patient as I am today. I am adventurous. I am the intellect that I have. It all came from her. My pops, she gave me a couple things, but she instilled the me of today. If I got to dig deep into attributes that were given to me by a human being that made me who I am today, I have to say, and she didn't give birth to me either, but she gave me the energy of a woman that gave birth to me, and I will forever be indebted to what she implanted in me because it's the most special thing. And now I feel like I'm doing the work that she started before she passed of cancer. And she always wanted to give and she always wanted to nurture people and she wanted to teach what she learned in a non, you know, giving, receiving way. She was just that giving. And she was that person that was in the Peace Corps. And we met my father. She was a teacher in Sierra Leone and then came here. And so over the years, I just picked up the traits. Like I shop like her now. I look in my cabinets. I have the same stuff. I put my stuff away the same way. My place is, the same way she used to have her house. And I think the same way. So I thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate you for everything that she instilled in me. Oh, man,
Yeah.
had a moment there. Sorry, had a moment there, man.
No worries, no worries at all. How old were you when she passed? Was that relatively
It
recently or
was 2018.
okay. So
Yeah,
you really 2017 till now was really like just a
oh,
transformative
oh,
period of
oh,
time. And
man, you
then you
can't
had
break
the
me now.
COVID, you had COVID on top of it, and then you
You can't break me now. I'm gonna tell you, from 2017 had the pulmonary embolism, and then when she passed, I just wanted to go too because I was like, my best friend is gone, my lady's gone, everything, like, my nurturer, the person that I can go to. She was my doctor also. Like, I mean, I had the whole complete package, And the crazy thing about her is, I'll tell you a quick story. So her and my dad, and man, people used to say, and still say, you need to write a book, because when I was in the sixth grade, or just graduated sixth grade here in Sacramento. Her and my dad, they broke up. He went to prison because of some shit that he did to her. And he wouldn't let her legally take custody of me because she was my birth mother. So I had to go live with one of his friends in San Jose. That was the last time I saw her. So I'm thinking, now the rest of my life is fucked, because now the only lady I really give a shit about, or person on the planet, is now gone. What am I going to do? I'm a lost child now. I go to
Mhm.
San Jose. I go to San Jose, and my dad gets out of prison. We move back to Sacramento. We live our life. We live our life. We move back and forth. To different apartment to apartment. And then finally, I'm about 21 years old now. Yeah, 20, 21. No, I'm 21. And the same neighborhood that my mom and I used to live in, I moved back to. She also moved back there too. She moved from Sacramento, came down to LA, moved to France, came back to LA, moved back to Sacramento. I moved around, moved back, but we both moved back to the same neighborhood. Didn't know it. Last time I saw her was in the sixth grade. Got on a
Oh,
Greyhound
so
bus.
like you didn't even like keep
Nah,
in touch, like
nah,
phone calls or
no, I couldn't, because
emails or anything like that.
my dad would not want me to contact her. They weren't in contact. He's like, you're not contacting her. I didn't know where she was. That was the last time I saw her when I graduated sixth grade. That was it. 21 years old. I'm a Mountain Dew guy riding around in some Hummer back when Frappuccino first hit the market. And it was a black Hummer truck with Mountain Dew decals on the side. Fill up the bed with ice, put Frappuccino in it, and then we'd go to minor league ballparks, state colleges, just different places, throw out Frappuccino and Mountain Dew in traffic, just trying to get the product out. At this time, I went to the Albertsons grocery store that I used to shop at with my mom as a kid, and I'm
Mhm.
not thinking anything of it, but she was there. She was there, and she saw me. I didn't see her. She didn't know if it was me or not. And she was like, I had blonde hair at the time because I was trying to be a cool Mountain Dew dude. You know what I'm saying? I had the little blonde mini fro. And yeah, I had the blonde mini fro, but it looked good though. It looked good though. She came running out of the store as fast as she could to see if it was me. Thank God she did, because I heard her voice yell out my name. And then I looked up to God and was like, man, don't be fucking with me today, dude. Because I turned around and I left this $80,000 truck wide open, unlocked. Literally, I opened the door, was getting ready to leave the parking lot, and she caught me as I was stepping into the truck, and I left the truck door. I remember leaving the truck door unlocked, open, got in her car, went to her house. We looked at pictures of the family. I got fired. I got fired from that job, but I could give two fucks about getting fired from a job because I found my mom again. I
Yeah,
found
and apparently you have really good luck with cars.
apparently, apparently. So,
Doors open,
so
2 hour parking.
yeah, right. It's like, we had to plan this all out. And so we go to her house, and at that point again, I was like, okay, my life's gonna be okay now, because I found her again. My rock is back. Okay, the person that understands me, the person I can talk to about everything, the person that's my counselor, my friend, my everything, is back now. Okay, cool. Because I was going through things with a person I was with, and I just thought life isn't gonna be so bad anymore. When she came back into my life, and life got better. And she was another inspiration also too, because after we got reunited, she was a catalyst of like, yo, you're a really good artist. You need to do this. And I said, okay. And everything, again, that whole conversation about the journey, I just really tapped into the journey again when I was reunited with her. And she was the other one that sparked that flame in me at that age. So I lost it for a while after, she was gone. I found those kids, and then those kids moved away, and my dad and I moved, and then things happened in life. she comes back, and then music kind of comes again, and then life happens again, music goes away, and then here we are. Accident happens. Of course, a bunch of things happen in between all that, but I'm giving you the short version. It's just, I always just tapped into myself at those times when I was down, and I just woke up a few years ago. I'm glad I did. I'm thankful that I woke up, because now I'm living, I would say, my best life emotionally, spiritually. Like you said, I'm unbreakable at this point, because everything I've been through, I went through it alone. I had to deal with this alone. I could have put many burdens on other people. I could have had friends that I was always woe is me with. I could have had groups of friends that always complained about shit, and I complained about shit, and we're all friends because we all complain about shit together. Bullshit. And I was like, nah, I don't want none of that. And so I just stayed solo dolo, and just dealt with this shit and grinded it out. And mentally, now I'm in a place where, yeah, try to break me, try to mentally fuck with me. Can't, because I was already broken. I was already near death. Like, come on, what are you gonna do to me that hasn't already been done to me? Is how I look at it. There's nothing you human person in front of me is gonna say or do that's gonna make me feel any lesser of a person, a man, a brother, or anything. So go ahead and try your luck, but you can keep it pushing.
That's absolutely wonderful. And so now you've embarked and you've returned to music. You've embarked with these
Yeah.
2 new singles. Are you doing any live performance, or are there any plans to maybe tour around with them?
Right now, the music's just released. That's all in talks right now. I'm talking to different establishments about it. I'm getting phone calls about it. It's all in the works again. Like, I'm just letting God take control of what's happening at this point. I finally just got to a place where it's like, man, we just need to release this music and just see what happens. And so now we're just going to see what happens. And whatever happens with it, because my life, like, life is an improv. Every day we wake up, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the conversation we're going to have. We don't know what the conversation is going to be about. But you're going to take the best part of yourself in every conversation to make that moment the best it can be. And that's how I feel about life now. Is I don't try to control anything. I just say, okay, we were able to make this music up to here. People like it. Okay, cool. People like it. All right, cool. Next person that hears it keeps saying they like it. All right, now let's release it. Let's see what it brings. If it brings shows, let's go. If it brings a tour, let's go. If it brings collabs with other artists, let's go. So I'm ready for whatever the Lord says. Hey, this is your next chapter. This is what you're doing next. Let's go, Lord. I'm ready. So now the green light is on. And here we go. Because there's no turning back. There's only getting better from here. So whatever that is, I'm ready for it.
What's your process when it comes to writing? Like, are you a person that writes on the daily? Are you a person who you don't do any writing until you're just walking down the street and you see that thing and you're like, aha? And you have to run home and like sit down and get the pen and paper.
So my process now is I don't write. I'm the melody guy, right? So I like to create the melody first. And so I used to write years ago. I used to sit down there and think about what I was going to write, think about the concept, then think about the words. And then to see, I write what I do now, but I don't sit there and think about it prior to. I just go in, I listen to the track, and I let the track tell me what to sing. That's how I go.
Right.
I go off feeling. So like when A Thing Called Love, I didn't know I was gonna sing A Thing Called Love, but I knew I had love in my heart. I knew I had whatever feeling in my heart at the time. And I sang what was on my heart because the track told me to do that. And then Baby I Know, that's what I sing. And so every track I do what the track tells me to do. Yeah, that's really my process right now. Is I vibe on the track, and the track says sing like this, I sing like that. And that's really where I'm at now. It's like I don't sit there and like, okay, here's a pen and pad. I really gotta get deep. No, that's just for me. That's too confining. That's just how I roll. I'm not saying I'm no better than anybody else. It's just my process now. It's I've been improving and for many years alone and just really honing in on me. So I'm just so comfortable with I guess who I am and what my level is. It's like, man, play the track. Some people are like, what are you gonna sing? I'm like, I don't know, man, just play the track. Let's just go. And then they're like, oh, you do have some skill. I was like, well, man, just a little something. So let's try keep playing, hit the record button. Let's hear what comes out, and then go back, listen to it, and then make any adjustments that we need to make. But that's my process now is going in, vibing on the track, and then just getting in the booth and going for it.
That's the way to do it. It's been
Go ahead.
such a pleasure getting acquainted with you today.
Thank you, man. If I rambled on too long, audience, my apologies. I'm grateful that you allowed me to ramble on. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me
No,
on the
not
show.
rambling at all. It's been you've had
you.
such a fascinating story, and I think it's so great. Especially you've especially had a fascinating last 6 years. Like, and so I commend you for being able to work through it and find the positive and come out on the other side. That's really commendable.
So I went from a hospital bed to being almost dead, homeless, no money, no job, nothing, to now having amazing music, clothing brand, great job, amazing people around me that absolutely love and adore me, and I love and adore them. And they make me feel personally like a whole person, so I don't feel ever inferior around anybody. Like I'm around killers, meaning mentally. Like they're strong in their own fields. Everybody's awesome in what they do. They've pulled me into their circle like, okay, you got something. Now you just need to work on yourself harder. Knowing that and being aware that that happened to me is where I'm at now, because I was aware that I was being pulled into a good circle. And because I was aware, I was then patient enough to go, okay, you're in a comfortable space. Now you can actually spread your wings a little bit. Now you can get more comfortable in your talent, who you are. Now really start to grow. So I appreciate all those people that, Big Vic, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Big Jerome, man, appreciate you guys. My family, kids, Malik, Charlie, Jack, love you. Lala, shout out to Lala. Man, there's just certain people that have been around me that have given me a certain amount of love, and I got to say thank you to them, because without those people that pulled me into these arenas and believed in what they saw with how I carried myself, I wouldn't be here. So thank you to those people who saw me grind, who saw me work hard, who saw me just put my head down and do my best and allowed me to continue to grow. So thank you for all those people who allowed me to do that, because that's how I'm able to get here today, because I had those opportunities that were kicked down for me as people saw me move. And so thank you so much for that. I appreciate those people.
Wonderful. And we only have like a minute left. Where can we find you online, and where can we find, bearing the lead, your clothing line? We need to talk about your clothing line. Where can we find you online? Where can we find out more about you and all the wonderful things you do?
BLSST Instagram, BLSST_LUV is the Instagram. Same thing on TikTok. BlessLoveOfficial.com. It'll be up in the next couple of days. You'll find clothing, you'll find blogs, you'll find music, you'll find just a bunch of cool stuff, things about self-love, self-help. Just this is about who are you, where'd you come from, where are you going, where are you at? Let's share our stories about how we got through and overcame whatever it is we overcame, because that's what this is about. It's not about anything else. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the moment. Let's make the moment be beautiful and what it can be.
What a wonderful way to end it. Well, it's been such a pleasure, Seydou Kante.
Thank you.
Also known as Bllst Love. And
thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you all for listening. We're going to catch you next week on another episode of Showtime with Jordan Van Haslo and Friends. But now we're going to listen to Seydou's 2 singles, a thing called Love and Baby I Know.
I think we got something, y'all. I think we got something. You know, classic. I met this cat some time back, and let me tell you, when I felt this cat's energy, we didn't do a whole lot that night, but I knew one thing, that's for sure. I was gonna meet this brother again, and when we met again, we were gonna make a classic. We were gonna create something special for y'all. We were gonna do something that makes you guys go, damn, he's real. All right, when you feel that energy, when you go somewhere and you feel something, and it's undeniable, you just can't describe what it is, don't question it, just go with it, because it's just a thing called love. It's just a thing called love. Just a little thing called love. It's just a thing called love. Just a little thing called love. A thing called love. Just a little thing called love. A thing called love. I don't know if I've been the meaning to tell you I love you. I don't know if I've been the meaning. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I've been the meaning to tell you I love you. I don't know if I've been the meaning. Just this little thing called love.
Just the little things that make you cry out loud, and the things that make you smile out loud. Just the things that make you say, oh damn. Just the little things that make that man. Just the little things that make that boy do the things to that other little boy. Just a little thing called love, brothers and sisters. Hug them the missus, call them the mates, call them the mates, making the babies. Oh, I want to say that love. It's just a thing called love. Just a little thing called love. A thing called love.
Grew up in a hurry, I had to go get it up out of the mud. Pops taught me respect, loyalty. My mama taught me how to love. Running the street like the pain in the middle. Ain't decking no shots, I done came out the dribble. We done grew big, had to start with a little. I say I'm blessed, but it's never that simple. I've been lost, had to find it. Contract whack, I won't sign it. I know my granny look down on me now. Let baby boy keep grinding. Push it, work it, out fulfilling my purpose. You know the word is my stage, and I'ma turn up until they close the curtains. Fruits of my labor from my family tree. She gon' keep solid for no one but me. Manifest everything, that's why I lead. That's alright now when I know when it rings.
It's just a thing called love. Just a little thing called love. It's just a thing called love. Just a little thing called love. A thing called love. Just a little thing called love. A 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 thing called love.
Yeah, I've been thinking about something. Been on my mind for a while, girl. So I'll say, I've been wanting to talk to you about the shit that we go through. Sometimes is it really necessary to make shit in the house scary? Don't have to raise your voice, love. You can talk slow, you can talk soft. Prefer your inner spirit to be more clear. I wanna hear it. I know I got this love thing for you, baby. It's crazy. From the day we met, I knew you would be mine, baby. So I know from this day forth, you are my love, and I am yours. So if you just say those two words, I do, and I will, but I do on my way, on my simple way. Sometimes I don't know it, not the minute, baby, I know it's just one thing, it's for sure now. Oh, I say, I can go there, it's alright now. Baby, I don't know if you ever seen the things I know, the things I mean. You are that lady, you are that lady that makes me go so deep in my soul. I know